All right, welcome back to Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton, Big E here. Thank you very much for joining me. I am pleased to be joined by two of my great friends, Jevon Lefebvre from the Left Side Heavy podcast and Haydn Barton, friend of the pod, big football guy. Boys, what's going on? What's happening?
Young Muller, baby.
As he's wearing a Padres jersey. Okay.
Yeah, Tatis, kind of mixing it up. Wait, this isn't a baseball podcast? Sorry, my bad.
No, that's the whole podcast. We're just talking an hour about the lockout.
It makes it any better. I got the Speak Your Piece hoodie underneath.
Oh, that's good.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Quick plug for the brand.
Shout out, much appreciated. We're just gonna.
The sleeves are getting short though.
Well, you're
I
washing it.
I need to get my money back.
Yeah, you and many others. This is all baseball. We're just going to talk about the lockout and why the CBA is important and why the players are getting screwed by the owners. That's what this pod's about.
Exactly.
Haydn, what's new and interesting in your life? What's happening in your world, big guy?
Oh, nothing too much realistically. The reason why the Jimmy Graham jersey's up there is because I got Saints row right along the top here. Yeah. I'm more or less kind of concerned about the first two. Right here. Obviously you can't see it, but you can see my finger. That's Michael Thomas. And you got Saints Jimmy Graham. And then over on the right, you got someone who's being in jail right now, I guess you could say, and
AK-41.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
He rhymes with Calvin Amara.
Yeah, I heard the Saints signed a Calvin Amara today, actually, on the practice squad. Yeah.
Not great. Would you trade all of those jerseys for a Taysom Hill jersey right now? Yes or no?
Shut the fuck up. No.
Trevor Siemian.
Trevor Siemian.
No. It's gonna be Jameis Winston.
Eli Apple.
Oh my God. Eli Apple, which one? Giants, Saints, or Bengals?
Saints.
Oh,
you can find it at the sales rack at Winners.
No, he was never put on. No, even at the Saints, or even in the dome, they wouldn't offer an Eli Apple jersey ever.
They were already in clearance by the time he was with the Saints. Like, they already had his jerseys in clearance by the time he got there.
Signed his contract, they made the jerseys, and right on the clearance rack.
It's like original price 110, selling for 75. Who says no?
Yeah, everybody.
And then people still wouldn't buy it.
People only get Eli Apple jerseys for to kind of mock him. Just for jokes, kind of like how people get Louis Erickson jerseys, just because he's such a legend in any way you want to take it.
No, when they get Eli Apple jerseys, they only get it so that when their team does something fucking stupid, they can burn their Saints jerseys.
Yeah,
I like where you're going.
Scapegoat.
I like where you're going there, Jeff. It's like a little reverse psychology type deal, of if he actually does something good, then it's cool, Eli Apple did something good. But 90% of the time, it's I'm going to burn this guy's fucking jersey.
Yeah. Fuck
this dude. Which, that's a real hardcore fan to pay real money to do that. That's real psycho shit. Boys, it's Super Bowl week. I'm pumped. I'm ecstatic.
Yes, sir.
This is one of my favorite weeks of the year. Do you know that I plan this week before I plan Christmas? I know what I'm doing for Super Bowl week before I plan what I do for the holidays with my family. That's how much I love Super Bowl week.
It's typically one of the first events of the year, so I hope you plan.
That is the American in you right there.
That is the American in me, but I can't help it. I love that everything Super Bowl stands for. You're watching a football game. Hopefully you're with friends and family. You shouldn't be doing anything that day. If you plan on doing something on the day of Super Bowl Sunday, you are a real psycho. You are probably a mass murderer. Just saying.
Yeah.
This might explain why I'm not in a relationship right now, but not the point. This year we have the Cincinnati Bengals, the LA Rams. Should be an entertaining game, one would think. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of storylines in this game. I want to go through all these storylines with you as we preview Super Bowl 56.
Hayden had to remind me a couple times on this week's episode.
56. I stopped counting after 48. So
until the next Seahawks Super Bowl.
Well, until the next time the Seahawks play in a Super Bowl. Like, they haven't played in one since Super Bowl 48.
Off game.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just this is my reaction. I don't know. Although I will say I felt old this week because Richard Sherman did a post for, I believe, his son, like, wishing his son like happy 7th birthday. And it's just like, dude, your son was being born the last time the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl. I feel really old with you posting this. Like, this is my, like, this kid is not 7 years old. Like, this, like, it's like Steph Curry's kid, like Riley Curry. You are not however old you are. I just remember you when you were interrupting press conferences.
Yeah.
You can't get older.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
I'm going to give you some honorable mention storylines that I want to discuss. First, cool. LA is hosting a Super Bowl for the first time since 1992. That was the Cowboys-Bills game at the Rose Bowl. Second year in a row that the Super Bowl hosts are in the game. I mean, I guess they had a 2-32 chance with the Chargers, but the Chargers weren't making it. SoFi Stadium looks really fucking sick. Just, this is the second year in a row that it's been open. Looks like an awesome stadium. And it's going to be great having a full stadium this year. Last year we didn't because of COVID. This year we're going to have a full stadium, even though no casual Joe can actually afford to go to the game because ticket prices are, impacted by inflation. But it is going to be nice.
Or NFTs.
Or NFT. Or crypto. You basically have to like spend a bunch of Bitcoin to go to the Super Bowl nowadays, which is how that works. So I think that's really cool, having a full stadium in LA, the second biggest market in the US. I'm really looking forward to that. This is also an honorable mention, but I think this is an Aaron Donald legacy game.
Okay.
Probably the greatest defensive player of my generation that I've ever seen. If he doesn't win on Sunday, when does he win a Super Bowl? And one would think that he's going to be an impactful player on Sunday, but we can talk about that later on. Two other storylines I have: Odell in his first Super Bowl, Sony Michel going for his second Super Bowl, this time with the Rams. He was with the Patriots when they beat the Rams a few years ago. So,
ironic.
Isn't it ironic, said Alanis Morissette. So let's get into my number 5 storyline of Super Bowl 56. I have Jamar Chase against Jalen Ramsey. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the for sure matchup that we're going to see. Like, I'm sure there's going to be some zone coverage and, Ramsey's not going to be on him the entire game. But, going back to when the Rams were last in the Super Bowl, when they played the Patriots, Aqib Talib was on Julian Edelman, the number 1 pass receiver, for most of the game, like a large chunk of the game. So this is the matchup I think that's going to be the most, I don't know about the most impactful offensively, but certainly outside of the line of scrimmage, the Chase versus Ramsey matchup throughout the game. And remember back when we recorded on Jevon's podcast, episode 53, Left Side Heavy, when we did our preview for our fantasy draft, and I took the mock draft. I took Jamar Chase, and I got a bit of heat for that because Chase was having a poor preseason. He was dropping balls, had difficulty adjusting to the NFL ball compared to the college ball. And I'm like, and I said at the time, I think this guy will be fine. I don't think he'll be great, but I think he'll be fine. He's better than what he's showing in the preseason. Now, as we make our way into February, this guy gets to go up against Jalen Ramsey. Jevon, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Your thoughts on first Jamar Chase and his opportunity in getting to play in the big game for the Bengals.
So Jamar Chase, you bring up the preseason, and I never really kind of believed it that everyone was like, I can't believe they picked him, top 5, all that. And I never, yeah, like I didn't really believe that he was going to be a bust, like what people were calling it, but they're just like people in the comments trying to gain likes and traction. But I always thought he was going to be a baller at some point. And what's funny is that despite the unbelievable season he had, he still was up there amongst league leaders in drop passes, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
He still had the yips when it came to catching the ball, but he capitalized on big play opportunities. So I think this has been ever since this matchup was like finalized, like this is going to be Super Bowl. I think Ramsey versus Chase was immediately one of the top headlines going into the game. First of all, it was the Bengals O-line, or first of all, 2 first overall picks going at it, Stafford and Burrow, and then the big D-line from the Rams going against the Cincy's vulnerable O-line, and then Ramsey Chase. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Rams game plan Ramsey with Chase. Like, I don't think he's gonna fully like stick to his hip, because Jamar Chase will probably be switching, calling audibles, end arounds, all that. But I do think that this is a game where McVay should just say, fuck the game plan. You follow Chase wherever he goes. But it's also hard because T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd have been balling out. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited for it.
I think it's gonna be a really fun matchup. Haydn, Jalen Ramsey, I want to say, has been one of, if not the best corners in the league. He's, I know you're probably gonna say your boy Marshawn Lattimore deserves a little bit of praise. No, okay. I just want to make sure.
No. Ramsey is the number 1 cornerback in this league right now.
Yeah,
it's very apparent that he is.
And this is a redemption game, I think, for Ramsey as well. He missed out on the Super Bowl in 2018 with the Jags when they lost to the Patriots. I'm curious as to know what you think about this, Haydn, about Ramsey going up against Chase. He gives off some like Deion Sanders type vibes, right? Of like, you are going to be locked down. I'm going to be on you all game. What are your thoughts about Ramsey heading into his first Super Bowl?
He has to stay confident. As receivers and corners, they have to be thinking that they're the best player on the field. Because if they're not, if they go in with zero confidence, they're going to get torched. Jamar Chase, he's a rookie. He's played in a big game, with Burrow. They kind of know a little bit of the stage where, a lot of these Rams players, for as much as the base core was in 2018, this is almost like a brand new team, and like you said, this is Ramsey's first Super Bowl. I don't think he made it to the national championship, right? Or even because what
he might have.
Ramsey, he went to FSU. So
yeah,
I don't think they.
Okay. He might have with
Jameis.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then you know what? Like, I know he also has a lot of swagger. I wouldn't say as much as Deion Sanders. He's not.
It's not quite that level, but that feels like the 2022 equivalent of Deion Sanders. It's kind of what you see with Jalen Ramsey and the swagger and the energy that he's bringing to the field every time he steps on.
The only time he doesn't is just his playmaking ability and his ball hawking like ability. He's not someone that goes after the ball. He's someone that locks you down. Because you look at Deion and it's like when he made a play for the ball, he went for the end zone.
Yeah.
And he was the best player on offense and defense sometimes for Atlanta, for Dallas, and San Francisco, even when he was old, so it's just, can Ramsey replicate that? I think he can get to a point, but we'll have to see. I think he's personally going to be like shadowing Chase, but I don't think he'll be on him for the whole game.
I think one of the best things that I've seen Ramsey do was when he was in high school, he would slide into the number one receiver's girlfriend's DMs before the game.
Yep.
All time move. But yeah, you
that
talk
is-
about confidence. I've never seen Ramsey not confident in his game. And I forgot to touch on one thing, but one thing I mentioned this on mine last night that's coming up tomorrow or Wednesday. I don't know when this is coming out, but T. Higgins was like, just because Ramsey's on the other side doesn't mean we don't have our guy who's at the top of his position as well. He's like, just because Ramsey's going to be on him doesn't mean we're not going to throw to him. We're not going to shy away from our best player just because their best is on him, right? So confidence goes both ways, right? So this could be a all-time matchup, but let's hope.
And I mean, I have that as number 5 storyline, which I think speaks to how the rest of this game is going to go, where you have the best player, not the best defensive player, the best corner, probably against the best offensive weapon for the Bengals. It should be a fantastic matchup to watch. It'll be interesting to see how the Rams decide to cover Cincinnati, whether they go 2 high, 1 high, if they're going to go bunch of zone, bunch of man. That's going to be really fascinating. My number 4 storyline at this year's Super Bowl is the battle of the line of scrimmage. And I'm not just talking about, the Rams defensive line against the Bengals offensive line. It's also the Bengals defensive line against the Rams offensive line too. So I think like there's two, there's like a 4A and a 4B I have, where it's both the line of scrimmages is going to be meaningful in this game. And I think when you talk about the line of scrimmage, you have to talk about who on Cincinnati is going to slow down Aaron Donald. I don't know who that guy is. I don't know if they go double team, triple team. Jevon, how do the Bengals offensive line slow down the Rams pass rush?
It's tough, right? Because you have Donald and everyone wants to focus on Donald, but then you got Von Miller keeping out on the outside, and he has a tendency of showing up in big moments like he has this playoffs. And I can't lie, but I'll save it for later. But you want to say you want to double each, but then they could just rush more and pour it on. So I think you should throw in like 2 tight end sets and then double Vaughn and Aaron, and then just protect Burrow because he can't make plays if he's not on his feet, right? So I say double the 2 big guys and then maybe bring in a fullback for any sort of pass rush, but then also try to utilize some screens if they're just going to be pouring it on. Maybe dump it off to Mixon or Perriman, and they can make some plays out of the backfield. Perrine, sorry, I screwed that up. But I mean, you saw what he did in KC, right? That was a big game-changing play. So I think if they utilize the screen pass and then quick throws, but also just bolster up the pass protection and double their 2 big guns, it's about as best you can do. But
I don't think there's any stopping Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd. You can only hope to contain them, right?
Exactly.
And Haydn and I remember we were talking about this during the Tennessee Cincy game of and that was when Burrow took 9 sacks against the Titans defensive line that's not nearly on the same level. But Haydn and I were talking about just a lot of quick game, just get the ball out, just get it away from wherever the point of attack was coming from. And it wasn't great, but you could see that there was an effort being made by Zach Taylor and the Bengals offense. And I'm curious to see how Cincinnati manages this, the LA pass rush, how they manage those big guys. Hakeem Adeji is the right guard for Cincinnati. He could hear his name called quite a bit purely because he's just getting attacked a lot. But on the flip side, Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard will also need to be impactful players for the Bengals to win this game. Haydn, what are your thoughts on the Bengals D-line, and how can the Bengals get through to get to Matt Stafford? I was about to say Jared Goff. Good Lord. Matthew Stafford. How do the Bengals D-line get to him?
I think the Bengals D-line is severely underrated, only for the fact where it's like, oh yeah, no, we probably won't, double team anyone on that defensive line, when that's gonna like hurt you if you don't have at least someone chipping off both of those ends. Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson both have been proven to be very, very established defensive ends in this whole season. Trey Hendrickson being third on sacks or fourth, somewhere around there. And then Hubbard being a great defensive contain on the outside. And even like when we saw him against Kansas City, he was a spy. And then he jumped the gun and like got Mahomes and almost strip sacked him. Or he did strip sack him, but almost recovered. So you add that with I think it's DJ Reader and Hill in the middle. Like, I know they lost their like main defensive tackle about a month and a bit ago, but they can't be overshadowed, because if the Rams don't focus at least, wherever they're going to that side, and they don't focus their protection, it's going to bite them in the ass.
I think Hendrickson and Hubbard, I could be completely wrong, but I think according to PFF, Hendrickson and Hubbard are like top 5 pass rush or pressure rate, top 5 in pressure rate this postseason. Which, some guys thrive under the pressure. Some guys are Joe Cool when it comes to pressure, but that is something that I think will be talked about and discussed on Sunday, is if the Bengals D-line can create some havoc and cause some pressure for Stafford, get vertical. If they can get vertical, get into the backfield, it will cause some issues. Neither team, I don't think, has a real intimidating run game. Like, not to say that Sony Michel or Joe Mixon are bad running backs. I'm just not really intimidated. I wouldn't be threatened by either team's run game. So I don't know if they're, if somebody's going to try and use, play action to throw off D lines, but I am excited to see how each team goes at the opposing team's D line. Because the line of scrimmage, they talk about how the game's won in the trenches. This is a game that's going to be won in the trenches on Sunday. And hell, both teams might do really good in the line of scrimmage, and somebody's still going to lose. Might have another one of those overtime games. And, people are going to be upset about that. I'm going to go to my third storyline in this game that I wanted to discuss. And that's Sean McVay coaching in his second Super Bowl. 55-26 regular season record, a 6-3 postseason record since being hired by the Rams in 2017. McVay's offense has been in the top 10 in yards every year he's been a head coach, except last year. And his offense has evolved from the last time they were in a Super Bowl, where they, they were led by Todd Gurley in the running game, and now it's more of a passing game. And Stafford, they traded picks to get him. Now they're leaning on Stafford. Hayden, I'll go to you first. Does McVay have to win this game for a bit of a legacy, like to define himself as the top even NFL head coach?
Oh yeah, you can say that about McVay and even Zach Taylor, like more or less with McVay, because he's been in this situation before, and it's going to be like Aaron Rodgers, and the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship. Are the Rams the new team to choke under pressure? There's a lot of teams in the NFC that, choke in big moments, obviously me being a fan of one of them. It's for McVay, it's good because he's so young and he's like already a really established head coach. It's just, if he doesn't win this one, I think the bigger question is going to be why didn't we win this one? They're clearly a favorite. They clearly have the better team. And if they don't win this and end this season on a high note, you're going to have to go into next year with so many free agents and like so many questions about what are you going to do? Does Odell resign? Does Von Miller resign? Do you get everyone on the offense to come back and run it back one more time? Or does Whitworth, like their lineman, Whitworth, does he retire? He's 40 fucking years old, So McVay, I wouldn't say he needs this to really establish himself, but it would be the perfect foundation of really like cementing him into a long time tenure of the Rams.
Well, it's interesting because his influence cannot be denied in the league. Like he was the start of like the young hiring for coaches. Like we've seen with Matt Lefebvre, Zach Taylor himself. You see it with Jed Fish at the University of Arizona. Jevon, why is McVay going to win this game for the Rams? Why is McVay going to win this game? And how does this impact his legacy after this season?
Well, how he's going to win this game is that he's going to stop trying to get too cute like he has in the past. Because what he's had a problem with is that the Rams have been getting momentum driving down the field, and then he tries these double end around screen passes that they get caught up in the backfield. Next thing you know, it's 2nd and 14. The momentum swung to the defense. So you saw that 3rd down play when they tried to pass it off to Cam Akers in the backfield, and then I'm pretty sure like Bosa or even Fred Warner like ate him up, and McVay like patted himself on the chest. He's like, "That's my bad," because whenever they get up, they tend to do that kind of stuff where they think they can afford it, and next thing you know, the opposing team is getting back in the game. So I think that he's just gonna keep either handing it off to Akers or Michelle, getting those tough yards, and just going at what their strength is. Like, who is realistically going to guard Cooper Kupp? Because I know Eli's been having a good year, and I know Jesse Bates is a good ball hawk, right? I'm not saying he isn't, but I just think Cooper Kupp is a mismatch. So I just think you got to stick to your guns, don't back down, and yeah, I think they're just going to create a simple game plan for their stars, and I think it's going to work out. And as for his legacy, I think it's just it's a taking 3 steps instead of 1, because I already think he has solidified himself as a top coach in the league. He's proven that he can get to the big stage. It's just a matter of capitalizing, and if and when he does capitalize this weekend, then I think people will be taking him much, much more seriously amongst head coaches.
I have in my notes here, Cooper Kupp versus Eli Apple sounds like an illegal matchup. That sounds unfair.
That's a hate crime right there.
Pretty much, yeah. You see all the videos of like whatever Cooper Kupp does to Eli Apple, during Super Bowl is going to be a crime in Black History Month. Like that's,
oh boy.
Yeah. People really don't have that much faith in Eli Apple.
And by the way, since I just said if and when, everyone listening, go bet Bengals covering and money line, because chances are now Bengals are going to absolutely blow the Rams out of the water. So just betting.
Now that you gave this whole speech on the Rams,
McVay sucks. He's gonna get fired. Everything's just gonna go downhill.
go bet the Bengals. I was kind of trying to grapple with this for like the last week of like his reputation will take a bit of a hit, but at the same time, if he loses, it's to Zach Taylor, who was in the Rams organization before he went to Cincinnati too. So like, doesn't that mean like something of like one of his guys is going to go, formerly of the Rams? He can kind of claim like a half Super Bowl then, no?
I think so. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
It's funny how like Bill Belichick's coaching tree, no one's met him in the Super Bowl. Shots fired.
Makes you wonder. Anyways, also, there's no Wade Phillips to be the Rams DC in this game. It's Raheem Morris. And, there's a lot of talk in the last Super Bowl, like, well, Wade Phillips is going to slow down Tom Brady, which they did. I mean, they only gave up like 13 points, which isn't bad in a football game, but it's like you kind of need to score more than 3.
Yep.
That's Ian's hardcore analysis right there. Score more than 3 points and you'll win a game.
Sign him.
ESPN, where are you at?
Give him
Yeah.
Romo money.
I should be on a show with Nina Kimes and all those, Dan Orlovsky and all those ESPN people. I should be on NFL Countdown.
Providing that Booger McFarlane analysis.
Pretty much,
They
yes.
run
Mac
down
Jones.
because they need to score.
Yeah.
It's me calling the games like, Al, if I'm the Bengals down by 7, I drive down the field and score a touchdown and tie it before the clock runs out.
Now that they ran it in for 6, they can do one of two things. They can either go for 2 or they can be safe and kick the extra point. It's like,
with
thanks.
a whole half left to play in the game, I think it's smart.
Thanks, Booger.
My number 2 storyline in this game, my second storyline out of all, is Matthew Stafford in his first Super Bowl. He's 34 years old. Made his first conference championship game 2 weeks ago against San Fran. Drafted first overall in 2009. Other players taken in the 2009 draft include Mark Sanchez, who went 5th overall to the Jets. Malcolm Jenkins, who went 14th overall to the Saints. The other quarterback drafted in the first round, Josh Freeman, he went 17th to New Orleans. And just for fun, Pat McAfee went 222nd overall to the Indianapolis Colts.
Wait, New Orleans had 2 picks in the first round?
No, Freeman went 17th to Tampa. Did I say he went to New Orleans?
Yeah, you said New Orleans. I was like,
oh, sorry, I'm an idiot.
Legend move.
Yeah. McAfee went to Indianapolis in the 7th round. Stafford's had, I think, an overall good year. He had a bit of a up and down, like iffy November, but like
great start, and then tailed off near the end, and then picked it back up.
He hot at the right time is like the obvious cliche of like, oh, if you're gonna get to the Super Bowl, you gotta get hot at the right time. And Matthew Stafford is, caught fire at the right time.
He just has to hold a lead and then make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't go down 10 to San Francisco at home. Some would argue that wasn't even a home game.
it wasn't.
True.
It was not.
Most passing yards in a season he had this year since 2012. He had 4,886. Also led the league in interceptions with 17. Now, Jevon.
Yep.
Do you think Matthew Stafford is ready for, prime time, sure, but the big game? Is Matthew Stafford going to be ready for the big game on Sunday?
Yeah.
You believe in it?
Lock it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think he's ready. I think he knows what's at stake for him, because people were saying he's like, give Stafford a good team and he'd have like, give Stafford Rodgers Packers and he has 2 rings. Like, there's always these hypotheticals given with Stafford, right? And he's always been labeled as the most underrated quarterback in the league, which in doing so made him properly rated because so many people were calling him underrated. But I think he knows what his legacy is at. I think if he wins the Super Bowl, then I think it cements him in the Hall, in my opinion. But if he loses, then like, is he an afterthought? Is he just too overhyped? Is he overrated now? So I think he's going to be ready. He knows what's at stake. He knows that this isn't a given to get to the Super Bowl, right? It doesn't happen all the time. So he'll be ready.
I would hope so. This is like one of those feel-good stories that you kind of want to see him win the Super Bowl. It's kind of like what I mentioned with Aaron Donald earlier, where it's like, if he doesn't win the Super Bowl now, then when? Yeah. I'm a little bit concerned about his matchup against like the Bengals secondary. I'm a little bit concerned. Haydn, do you have any concerns about Stafford going up against Cincinnati's defense?
You just said it. It's their secondary. Their secondary, Cincinnati's, is so much more on a different level than what I would say San Francisco's was. Not only was San Francisco's just battered and like put through the ringer, but if Jaquiski Tartt gets that interception, we might be talking about Cincinnati 49ers. Like, I said this on Jev's podcast, and it's true. Like, Stafford's good for a pick a game, and he should have had multiple in that last game. You know, all it took was just one bad drop. And I think that's what's going to really hurt him. Like a bad decision, taking a deep shot when you don't really need to, and just like throwing it to a receiver underthrown or completely to the one side when he's not over to a different side, whatever. But it's like, I would say Joe Burrow is more ready for this game than Matthew Stafford. Sure, only because Joe Burrow has played in a huge game, an absolute huge game. You know, like they have what is it, like Stafford has the same amount of wins as Joe Burrow does in the playoffs, right? Like for a whole career, they're both at 3. So
that's not on Stafford though. Come on now.
Oh no, it's definitely not on Stafford.
Yeah, so you can throw that out the window then.
But I'm just saying, it's like I don't know. It's just something about Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is more ready than Stafford is. And, you know, Stafford really needs to make sure that in order to win this game, he has to be perfect.
I have in my notes here, 11 years with Detroit all leads to this. Like
he was 0-3 in the playoffs and now he's 500. So like once he's actually given a fucking opportunity in the playoffs, he's taking advantage of it.
Once he's not on the Lions.
He's been the quarterback for the 2 best wide receiver seasons of all time. So you can just put that in the label. So I think he'll be ready.
I think if the Rams win the Super Bowl, they need like 4 to 6 really good offensive drives. Like I kind of feel
like quarter killers, like 8 minutes.
Yeah, like keeping Burrow off the field. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I think, because that's what Cincinnati's strength is Joe Burrow. I feel like if you're the Rams, you need to have like 4 to 6 really strong offensive drives, scoring points, or just keeping Cincinnati's defense on the field for way longer than they should be. And that will help them get to victory. Mm-hmm. And this is all going to be led by the big acquisition in the offseason, Matthew Stafford. And if the Rams win and Stafford does well, it might change the way we look at how we trade for quarterbacks in the offseason as well. Like, because now we're expecting a big, quarterback carousel of all this movement. Stafford kind of set the market a bit last year. We'll see if it changes this offseason if he wins.
Yeah.
And finally, my top storyline heading into the Super Bowl, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are back in the big game for the first time since 1988.
Back in the big game.
Back in the big game. The Bengals are back. Cincinnati is in the Super Bowl.
A few years later.
Many more years later.
Yes. That sound exactly describes the Bengals in the NFL getting back to the Super Bowl. Burrow led the league this year in completion percentage, average yard per pass, sacks. He had 51 sacks this year. But he did set franchise records.
He played both sides of the ball? What?
Yeah, wow, what the fuck?
He did. This is what the the liberal media doesn't want you to know. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Most passing yards in a season for the set of franchise record for the Bengals, most passing touchdowns in a season, highest passer rating in a season. He's been on this kind of, upward roller coaster since about 2019 for the most part, outside of the ACL injury last year. Dude is the swaggiest dude of 2022. Mm-hmm. Last year was Jack Harlow. 2020 was Tyler Hero. Little Dickie's on that list somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is kind of crushing it right now. And if he wins this game, if Joe Burrow drags the Bengals from mediocrity to Super Bowl champions, you could almost argue he should just retire, because that's just the peak of, football. Like, just like in 3 years, making this team successful.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Jevon, what does Joe Burrow got to do to win this game on Sunday?
Well, I mean, he's filled with confidence. I mean, like the season that you just rattled off for him, it's just crazy because he threw for like a fifth or like a quarter of his season totals in like the final like 2 weeks of the season. He threw for like 980 yards and like 9 touchdowns in 2 games. It's like, okay, sweet.
It's
Sounds good.
getting hot at the right time, I'll
Yeah.
tell you.
So I think Burrow, I mean, you can argue like this is like all like skill, like this is him, but like I think he has to make quicker decisions, and I think his receivers got to help him out. I know the average depth of target or average pass attempt, whatever. I know it's around like 9 yards, is it not?
Yeah.
But I think you got to shorten that up. Really don't look for a first down every play. Try to take it 2 to 3 plays to move the chains, because just as much as the Rams need to keep Burrow off the field, you also got to keep the Rams offense off the field. And utilize the run game. Mixon's been having a good year, and the Rams don't necessarily have a great run defense. So I think Burrow's got to, I think he is the type of person to not play for Super Bowl MVP. He's going to play to win the game regardless of how he does it. So I think he is going to be disciplined and make the right decisions to chip away at first down, keep them off the field, utilize the run game, and then every once in a while stretch the field with T or Jamar. So I really think it's going to be a good game, and I think Burrow just has to keep it simple.
It's funny you mentioned playing for Super Bowl MVP. It's why I have, Burrow and Stafford as my number 1 and 2 storylines, because the quarterback just always seems to be the biggest storyline in the Super Bowl, whether they play well. Like Patrick Mahomes didn't exactly light up the world when he was in the Super Bowl when he won against the 49ers, but he still got MVP because there was no one else really to give it to. But, this would be, speaking of legacies, because this is what the Super Bowl is, it defines legacies, it cements, who you are. This would be an all-timer for Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when we talked on your podcast not too long ago about what do the Bengals need to do? How do the Bengals keep going? Because none of us thought the Bengals were going to be in a Super Bowl.
No, not at all.
And it was like, what do you do after here? Like, where do you go from here? And it's like, now they're going to go win a Super Bowl. Now they have the opportunity to go win a Super Bowl. And you might never get the opportunity to do this again. So take advantage while you can. Haydn, I guess my follow-up with Burrow is, do you pressure him? Do you throw zone at him and try and make him, read coverage? What is there a way to stop Joe Burrow? Is there a way to shut him down?
I think there is. It's pressure. It's pressure, and then it's the DBs have to do their assignment. There's a lot of firepower, and there's a lot of ways that this offense can smack you in the face. You send too much pressure, boom, you get bombed on a dump off. It's like, okay, you play zone, cool, we'll just take what you're giving us. We'll play underneath. We'll get whatever we need, because they have that ability. But as much as it's like just a shock, the Tennessee Titans did sack him 9 times. Should they have won? I don't think so. I don't think the Bengals should have won. How are you going to get sacked 9 times and still pull out a win? Obviously, it's just Tannehill throwing 3 picks, but I don't like. You have to make sure that Burrow just always feels constant pressure, so that he always has to, feel like he's in desperation mode. If they get up quickly and they make him feel like he has to make the big play, I feel like that's where he's going to have a little bit of mistakes. But even as I'm saying that, I'm thinking to myself, like, he's cool, he's collected. He'll run for a first down. He'll take what the defense gives him. He knows what to do. So it's just, I don't know. Every player on the Rams needs to have their best game of their life for defenders. And there's no way around saying that they can't, because they can beat you so many ways. Joe Mixon is an established running back one this year. And next year, I don't know if you guys have looked at the Bengals cap space, but they have cap space.
And I don't know if you heard, but Gronk really likes Joe Burrow. So, hey,
Fuck
Gronk's
that. Keep Uzama there. Keep or Uzama or Uzama, however you want to say his name. That guy's a fucking hero in Cincinnati.
I mean, Gronk also doesn't hurt though.
Yeah, it's just his price tag, right?
I think
His
I'd
cap
retire.
space him to a 1 year, 10 mil.
Pricey.
I think I'd
Gronk.
retire. I think I'd retire before I lived in Cincinnati.
Fair. But also, Hayden, to bring to your point, since he's playing with house money, and obviously you've made it this far, they're obviously going to try to win and not like try and like screw the pooch, but they're playing with house money. They just like, they don't, I think the Rams have all the pressure, and like that, I think is
Yeah.
unanimously known that the Rams
Yeah.
have all the pressure riding on them. Bengals, no one expected them to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I was
not
telling people today. I don't know how many people had the Bengals even winning 4 fucking games.
Yeah, and
You
they
know?
won their division. So they're
It's-
playing with house money. They're just gonna go out there and fucking sling it. And they're just gonna, I think they're gonna play I think it's gonna be a really good game on both sides.
It's funny, like we talk about being cool. Like what stands out to me is just against when they were playing the Raiders, when they were hosting Vegas in Wild Card Weekend, and Burrow just whenever there was pressure on him, just easy out route to chase, or easy comeback, or just easy dump. Like it never seemed to bother him. He always just seemed to know where the guy was that he was going to be throwing to. And granted, like the Raiders secondary is not that great, and it's certainly the Raiders defense is not on the same level as the Rams. But that dude was just he was just chill. He was just making all the right plays, and that's the kind of energy I'm looking for. That's the kind of just like prepared, ready to go, making all the plays you need to make, and it's not a problem. We're gonna do some prop bets here. I want to get some, a couple betting, predictions from you guys. Joe Burrow is plus 270 to win the MVP. We don't promote gambling on here, but here are some bets that we would make if we were gonna gamble a whole bunch of money.
Damn, that Christmas Day parlay, huh? That was just a gut punch.
It sucks to suck, as I tell people. It blows. Yeah. So your MVPs right now, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, you got Stafford at plus 120, Burrow at plus 230, Cup at plus 550, Donald at plus 1600, Chase plus 2500. Is there anybody that you guys like to win MVP? If you had to put $10 on to win MVP, who would it be?
Hayden knows my answer.
Yeah, and Jev knows my answer too.
Okay. Should I not spoil then? Because you guys also have a podcast that you're doing. I should mention.
Oh no, it doesn't
I
matter.
don't know.
No. Okay, that's fine. Because I think I would put my money on Donald to get MVP.
And so I put a couple bucks on a few guys on LA.
Okay.
I put $10 on Stafford to win 20. Because I think if the Rams win, he has the highest chance of winning. I put $2 on Donald. I also threw $2 on Von Miller.
Ooh, that's actually not a bad play.
$2 on Von Miller to win $82. He's 41-1. And he's won MVP before when he was the focal point of that defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's not the focal point of that defensive line, but he's been balling this playoffs. He showed up in Tampa. He was still a force against San Fran. He has a knack for showing up in big games. His attention, most of the attention is probably going to be on Donald, stopping the inside. And D ends tend to excel more than D tackles. And that offensive line is vulnerable. So threw a little action on Von Miller to steal some big game moments. And if the offense is kind of like, Rams Patriots when Patriots won 10-3 or 13-3.
Mhm.
And like neither quarterback played well. Edelman won the game on 130 yards receiving. Like when you know that's the MVP, you know it was like a terrible game. Mind you, Edelman came up clutch, but come on, like that's any other production that's not going to win it. So I think Von Miller, if he shows up, why not, man? Why not?
I don't mind that. I don't mind that actually. Haydn, do you have an MVP pick that you like?
Oh yeah, I'll give out like some fun ones. I think with the Rams, if it's gonna be anyone, I would throw the most confident money on Cooper Kupp. But since
Yeah, I like Cup too.
yeah,
In
since
terms of value as well. You get the best.
exactly.
Yeah.
Since I'm mostly staying towards the Cincinnati side, and just knowing, what we were talking about earlier with in the trenches, I like my guy T Hex, Trey Hendrickson. If this guy turns it on, because I'm pretty sure he's going up against Whitworth. So it's just like if he, the same way that Jeff was saying about Von Miller, if he turns it on and he's in there for 2.5 sacks, maybe a strip fumble, because it seems like he gets one in very big third down situations. And even the same, you can make the same case for Sam Hubbard too. Those are like I would put $5 on each of them, just for fun. And then the safe one for me would be Cooper Kupp, if I had to go with the safe like Rams play.
I think if I had to go, yeah, for LA, I would probably go Donald. I like the long shot pick there. Kupp's probably a safe pick. Cincinnati, I think I would just go Burrow and play it safe. But I like that you went with your guy Hendrickson. That's a bold strategy that I can appreciate.
Well, even so, it's just like D linemen get a lot of credit and love for even just like pressure, like applying pressure to the QB. If he's the reason that Stafford throws a pick, then like people are going to be turning their attention to that, and it's a big reason. So I like the Trey Hendrickson pick because a lot of people value pressures more than sacks. It's like you're getting there, and because sometimes you put the pressure on the quarterback, but someone else gets the sack, they run right into someone else, right? So Trey Hendrickson can cause some havoc. So I like that big head.
Anytime touchdown scores. If you had to pick one player from each team, anytime TD scores, who would you go with? I'll give mine first. I'm gonna go with Burrow. He's got a plus 650.
To run it in.
To
run it in, or get a receiving touchdown, a Cincy special.
So obviously I think like Kupp or like Chase or like Mixon is like this, probably like top 3, 4. But I'm gonna go one, and I talked about this. I think this is going to happen. I think Van Jefferson is gonna catch like a 70-yard bomb. I think he's just gonna like spring free out of like a busted coverage, and he's just gonna snag one deep.
Plus 300 according to FanDuel. That's also not a bad prediction. I guess if I had to do a Rams anytime touchdown, you know what? I'm gonna go with Kendall Blanton, sidebar, because I had to pick up a tight end in one of my other fantasy leagues this year. I had to pick up a tight end due to a COVID scare in the last few weeks of the year. And Blanton, I think, was playing the Monday night game. That might have been when they were playing the Cardinals. And I had to pick up Blanton because he was the only available tight end that was left playing that week. And I almost won that game because of Blanton getting like 3 catches. And I'll be honest, Kendall Blanton definitely sounds like a reliever for the Colorado Rockies. But take him to get an anytime touchdown. That would be my pick for the Rams. Haydn, anytime TD.
Especially with Higbee kind of being a little bit hampered. You never know. In the red zone, catch a little tight end screen. Who knows, man?
Little fade, maybe. Maybe that's the mismatch is the Eli Apple Kendall Blanton fade that no one's talking about now.
Matchup of the century.
Like they wouldn't.
That's what 100 million Americans are excited to watch this Sunday is Eli Apple versus Kendall Blanton.
Damn.
On network television.
Hey, and what about you, bud?
Well, I'll give you like a little one too. I like an anytime touchdown to happen in between the 1.5 yard line.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard that one on a gambling podcast today. And I was like, I like that one, because there's so many ways that you can get a PI in the end zone, especially with Chase, the type of ball hawk he is, and T. Higgins. I could very well see that happening and then just Joe Burrow sneak it in. But an anytime touchdown, I like CJ Uzama. I'm not sure. The video just came out, but for the like the little prep rally that they were doing in the jungle, CJ Uzama, he has his like brace on and he unclips all three things and he throws that fucking brace right out of the way and the whole crowd was lit. So he knows.
Fuck, that's Cincy money line bet.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
fuck.
Like Uzama is ready for this game, and Joe Burrow, like they have a connection in the red zone. He has like 7 or 8 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure this year, or like, no, maybe not 7 or 8, maybe like.
I don't think so. He would have been like not a waiver wire guy.
Yeah, no, yeah. So he has, and he's been really, really serviceable in these playoff games. Yeah, he makes the clutch third down catch. So I like CJ Uzama, anytime touchdown, and then I would do defensive touchdown on one of these.
Eli Apple.
No.
Hey, Hayden, put your money where your mouth is. Von Bell, pick 6 over the middle.
I'll do that.
I think you should do a FanDuel same game parlay of Hendrickson MVP and anytime touchdown Bengals D, and it's Hendrickson who gets the.
If Hendrickson got like the strip sack scoop score, MVP right there. I don't care if Joe Burrow throws for 400 fucking yards and 2 touchdowns. Hendrickson with that strip sack and fumble scoop score, that'd be fucking sick.
Did you guys hear about the TJ Watt bet?
Oh, I think one of you guys told me this last time I was on your podcast.
Yeah, someone bet Watt to score a touchdown. Someone bet a Watt to score a touchdown, but they bet Derek instead of TJ.
Yeah, fuck.
That's brutal.
That's a kick in the nuts.
Yeah. I don't know if I have my official pick yet to win the game. I still am like a bit torn. I'm leaning towards the Rams right now, even though we talked about all these reasons why Cincinnati's going to win. Uzama doing like a that wrestling meme where like the guy looks like he's in the wheelchair with the brace, but he actually just got a blanket over it. So he just throws the blanket off and then just stands up. I don't know who the wrestler is, but that's what Uzama's doing. Looking on FanDuel here, Rams 23, the Bengals 10. I like those odds. You got the same odds with Rams 23, Bengals 13. Kind of like those odds. Rams 24-19. Is this going to be a weird score game? This kind of feels like a weird score game, doesn't it?
I really hope it's a scoregami. That would be
Jeff's
kiss.
Hasn't like 3 out of like the last 8 been a scoregami or something?
There's been more and more. I honestly like that would be if there even is a bet for that, but there's been a ton of scoregamis this year. Like
there is bets for it being a scoregami.
Across all sports, there's been like a ton of scoregamis. So like scoregamis are hot this year, boys. Let's throw a little action on that. Yep.
There's also 25-1 odds that there will be a power outage.
That's where all the degenerates funnel to are those prop bets.
Yeah.
We're betting over on the national anthem, obviously.
Oh my God.
How many outfit changes will Mary J. Blige have?
I remember I did that one last year with The Weeknd.
Yeah.
And then actually, Ian, I was telling Jev this, but Eminem pulling up in a Detroit Lions Matthew Stafford jersey.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
right.
sense.
Like that'd be fucking sick. And then Jev was saying, because we were adding it on his podcast last night, but Snoop Dogg pulling up in an Aaron Donald jersey, or a Cooper Cup or Matt Stafford.
Well, isn't Snoop Dogg like old Drake and like he cheers for a bunch of different teams?
Yeah, he is, because he's cheered for the New Orleans Saints like a couple years ago, and then on Sunday Night Football this year, he had a Bucks jersey on.
I think he's rooted for the Steelers before.
Yeah, he's done that. He voted for the Ravens. He had a Lamar Jackson jersey.
I feel like he will have an LA jersey on because he's been like working for the NHL with the Kings. So I mean,
not only is he from LA though, or from Long Beach.
Yeah, true.
You know what? I wonder if there's a stat out there right now that whatever jersey he's worn, the team has won. Like the other team has won. Because obviously on the Sunday night game, that's the most recent one that I can think of. Obviously, New Orleans won 9-0 against Tampa.
Isn't that like Belichick had like the hoodie record going for a while?
The gray hoodie?
It was like blue hoodie or gray hoodie or like red Reebok or something like way back, and it's just like.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure the white jerseys, since like this record has been like keeping track, the white jerseys are like 14-3 in the Super Bowl. I could have the record wrong, but I think since it's been keeping like track, since they've been like tracking it, I think the white jerseys are 14-3 and Rams are white this year. So
crazy.
Makes you wonder.
There's a stat for everything, Hayden. That's just like I think my point is that there's someone.
The premise of your bet. Oh yeah, the Rams are wearing white this year, so I'm betting everything on the Rams.
Well, there's those fucking assholes who are out there who will go to the March Madness brackets and they're like, who has the cutest point guard? And it's like they win the entire thing.
No, that's the girlfriend who doesn't know
exactly
who any of the teams. So it's like, I like this name, and it's Cornell is gonna go win March Madness. It's like, no, an Ivy League school is not winning March Madness. Sorry.
My buddy, his sister bet the playoffs on who had the best helmets, and I think she beat everyone.
Yeah, so you see, it's all right.
I was also telling you about like that other one woman, Jeff, where in the fantasy draft, her first two picks, Ian, Josh Allen, Harrison Butker.
Nice.
She won the league.
Nice.
What the hell?
Hey, kickers get the most points. They should be a top pick.
It's Christ.
All right. Jevon's going to do Moneyball kickers in fantasy football next year.
Yo, Hayden, one thing I do want to do, I want to do the punters. I want to do punters too. 0.1 yards for every yards punted for like net yards, and then like extra 5 for like inside the 10.
Mm-hmm.
-2 for outside the 20. Yep. Touchback is like -3.
-3, yeah.
Elite.
That'd be fun.
Boys, that's a podcast. Mucho gracias. Thank you for coming on. Greatly appreciated. Any final words? Any final thoughts?
Bengals. Overtime, 30-27. Calling it now.
Ooh.
I'll go Rams 31-28. I already said it on mine, so I'll double down.
I'll go Rams 28-16.
Interesting.
16. Interesting.
I hope McPherson, isn't that his name? Their kicker. Hopefully he doesn't miss a kick. That was another storyline I forgot to put in there.
He doesn't miss.
Money Mac.
He's not going to miss.
Well, you were shitting, Hayden. You were shitting on him early when you came on my podcast earlier in the year for like, if he just made kicks against Green Bay, they would have won that game.
Okay, but that's so true. He missed like 3 fucking kicks. Ever since then, he's like, you know what? I'm taking this seriously now, and he must have heard me. He must have heard because I'm a huge fan of Money Mac now.
I believe he's a former Florida Gator, and as we all know, Florida people are built different.
Aguero, what's his name? He was in
Roberto Aguayo, isn't it?
Yeah, Aguayo. Wasn't he like a FSU kid? And he was like the best college kicker in college history, and then he couldn't last a year on the Bucks.
No, not at all.
He missed literally every single kick.
He couldn't even make it on the Bears. I think he tried out for the Bears too, and he couldn't make it with them.
He's been passed around more than a joint.
Jevon, do you want to plug your stuff here before we head out, man?
I would love to.
Go for it.
Yeah, you guys can catch my podcast on everywhere you get your podcasts. Follow at Left Side Heavy _ on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and subscribe to the YouTube channel Left Side Heavy. Post video podcast there, and I was on a roll with posting clips as well, but I kind of died off quick.
Like me, I've been caught up in my shit, so I haven't had the free time I thought I would.
Yeah, exactly. But my personals, you can find them through the podcast pages. But yeah, Left Side Heavy _ on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and Left Side Heavy on YouTube.
Haydn, are you going to promote the Jimmy Graham show? Is that going to be your thing? You and Jimmy Graham should do a show together. I would watch that.
Oh my God. He's actually replied to a comment of mine. I don't know if you were following me back then, but he's also liked two things of mine where I've like commented saying like, oh, at the Jimmy Graham, and yeah, he
at Jimmy Graham, this Matt Nagy's a bum. Fire him.
Yeah. But no, actually, one of the most starstruck I've ever been was the NFL posted a clip of Calvin Johnson getting double teamed by 2 New Orleans players. And I commented saying, at the Jimmy Graham knows this feeling too, ... And he replied to me with the 100 emoji. And dude, I've never been more starstruck in my life because I posted on my story right away. And I was like, holy fuck.
So you guys are just boys now.
Honestly, we should be. I try to get in contact with him. My agent just can't, mess with his. And
I think
I'm flying planes in Miami.
So weird. Whenever I try to reach out to him, there's just like no service. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's
well
he's not following only me. He has 0 followers.
Exactly.
Well, when I reach out to him, like, his people are like, hey, if we want to get in contact, we'll talk to you. We'll call you if we want to get in contact. And I just haven't heard back since. It's been like 5 years now, but like,
we should actually both email the agents and say we would really love for Jimmy Graham to hop on the podcast. Both big fans of his. From past.
We got planes.
Yeah. We could ask him a bunch of pilot questions.
Exactly.
Bunch of aviation stuff. All right, boys, thank you very much for doing this. I got a busy week. I'm gonna be in Kelowna for Super Bowl weekend. I got a bunch of shit going on this weekend, so be on the lookout for that. I might post on Instagram about all the stuff I'm doing too. I might actually take the time to do that. That would be cool.
Can't wait.
Until then, we'll be back soon. We also got another podcast this week. We're doing an NBA trade deadline recap podcast, not with Jevon and Haydn, obviously, but you guys can all check that out on Friday. Until then, we'll be back soon. Peace out.